Hey folks, welcome to another OWTV interview. My name is Apostle, and joining me today, we have someone who maybe works behind the scenes a bit more than you're used to, but is here to give us an exciting look into maybe the secret of Dhillducks' success. We have Nogfriend, their manager. Nogfriend, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm grateful to be here. My camera, unfortunately, does not work on my laptop, so...
That's not a problem at all. We're super happy to have you. Now, first thing I want to ask is, obviously, you are the manager for the Dhillducks, and managers, they can be a little bit of a thankless role, you know, working behind the scenes a lot. So can you kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and introduce yourselves and tell us what you do?
So for the most part, I kind of like, my role is kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. Since we don't really do a lot of scrimming, I don't really do a lot of the typical managerial stuff that a lot of Overwatch managers do, but like the odd chance we do scrim, I do my part in that. I'd say most of my role recently has just like kind of been like doing outsourcing and looking for different teams and different other esports to try to like recruit them and giving them our pitch of that, like, you know, we have no money, but we look really funny, we're cool. See, I definitely say like I'm not doing the typical standard manager stuff that a lot of the managers like you'd see me doing, but
yeah, so you're in charge of the Dhillducks expansion project then?
I'd say, yeah, that's major. It's probably a lot of my major role.
Okay. So kind of going off that, can you tell us a bit about how you kind of got started managing and how you ended up looking after this team?
I started managing, like, I was like, it was the Natter Goats tournament, and it was like my first time, like, I finally got my laptop, so I was like, I can finally like play on like a PC tournament, and I got a bunch of people together, and I kind of played, and it's like, I kind of like being that, like, managerial position with other people. And from there, I kind of did like some small stuff and kind of built. And like my first start with the Dhillducks was, I think, with after stage 2 and before they joined, we became Blast Off Buds. It was like around there when I kind of joined. I went with them with Blast Off Buds, obviously, with Philly, Red X, Baz, and all them. And then we came back at the end of 2024, and it's been smooth sailing since then.
So working with the Dhillducks, is that something that you want to like do long term and like continue helping out with the team, or are you just kind of with them to figure out what you want to do next?
I mean, I definitely would like this to be like something I could do like long term, like continue to stick with this group and like with the brand, especially like think about how much we've like grown it this year, especially. Like it just started as like a joke, and the fact that we've amassed like such a amazing fan base and following of people is definitely something that I personally like want to like keep working with and like building on.
So, you know, you kind of touched on it a little bit there, but the Dhillducks have a really unique brand, especially when you compare it to like something like the partner teams, for example, which have like, you know, a much more kind of polished look that they've been working on over the years. But meanwhile, Dhillducks come in and you guys are just kind of, you have this very kind of happy-go-lucky vibe with like your a bit, I don't want to say silly, but if you like, you kind of present that vibe, and it seems to have made the brand quite popular. So can you tell us a bit about what you think has like kind of caused that success for you guys?
I mean, like when we first came back, it was like we came back as a joke for one of the community showdown tournaments. It was like, let's just play these really fun comps, like Razor talked about in his interview. It was like, let's play these really fun comps. Let's have fun with it. Let's have fun. Let's do all these things. Let's don't take ourselves like, we're not going to be serious. We know what we are. We're not going to take things too seriously. Like, so why pretend to be overly serious with what we do? And you know, like when we went to Face It Masters, it was like, okay, well, we made it. Let's just keep having fun. Like, let's keep being this brand of, you know, like having fun and not really trying the hardest. And it has taken us to this point. And it's like, why should we be like hard practicing and scrimming for like Team Liquid? And it's like, we know how that's going to go. Like, we know what's going to happen. There's 7 OWCS teams, like Baz says. There's 7 OWCS teams in North America. And we are the top of Face It Masters that get beat up on up here.
Yeah. So, kind of going off that, there was one thing that I think was a meme that someone shared on Twitter this week. It was like, Dhillducks seems to be the team that's like good enough to continue stomping everyone in Face It Masters, but like maybe not quite good enough to, you know, beat these OWCS teams. Now, is that something that like affects you as the manager, or are you kind of like happy with where you guys are right now?
I'm just happy to be with my friends. Like the fact that I can be with this group of guys and like have fun alongside them. It's just all that means. It means the world to me to be able to spend time with these guys, like with all they do. Like if we go into Face It Masters or we say an OWCS, or we go to Expert, I'm gonna stick with it because these are my friends at the end of the day, and like just being around them makes everything worth it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, if we can actually talk a little bit about the matches that we saw this weekend, because I think we had a couple of very interesting matches. Probably maybe the closest ones that we'll be seeing for the stage. So if we can talk a little bit about that, I want to get started with the match against Sakura Esports. So on Lijiang Tower, you guys actually had a very strong start. You started on the Zarya Bastion mirror, and for the first point, you actually were able to win that point. So can you tell us a bit about like that Bastion comp that we saw, and is that like a Dhillducks signature comp of just like bringing out something weird and unexpected, or is it something that you guys practiced? Because the streets were saying that Dhillducks did scrim a little bit before the games this weekend.
We did scrim twice before this weekend. Because on paper, this was our winnable weekend, was like it was supposed to be. But yeah, we practiced a bit, and it's like we didn't really have like we had been an issue like getting down the Zarya comp. So it's kind of like if we can't like perfect the Zarya Reaper to exactly what we want to do with it, we need to figure out a way to beat Sakura on it because we knew Sakura was really, really strong on that. Like we knew they were going to be good and hard to play against, especially with Zebo and Zarya. We were expecting PDK, but I think definitely the Bastion was definitely something we had like felt good about going into that. And then they came out with the Freya and it kind of fell off, but we took our round.
Yeah, I mean, you took your round and it seemed to be like a very strong start at least. But after the second round went and the points were tied 1-1, we saw a swap over on the night market over to Winston. So can you tell us a bit about what the thinking was behind the change there?
I think it was just a matter of, like, this Freya is really like taking a lot on us in this Bastion sim. I think we just like play something more comfortable on, because if we're not able to like kind of cheese that like mirror with the Zarya, like we came with the Bastion, we know the Freya is going to outpower us. We should just play something more comfortable on, I think, was kind of our thinking. Go back to our like best hero comp.
Did you feel that like by round 2, Sakura had kind of like gotten the download on the comp, or?
Yeah, it's kind of it. Like the Freya is like obviously really strong. That's why we banned it a lot in our first matches against Nightmare and Extinction on those maps, because we knew like the Freya is like obviously something that we're not was comfortable, like at least on with Juice. And if we had Juice, and obviously we'd be more comfortable mirroring it, because Juice is incredibly talented on all the hit scan heroes, and like we know we can definitely like compete with him in against the other teams on hit scan. But like when we're running our double flex with like trying to play Bastion and they're on Freya, it's a little more difficult.
Right. Moving on to our second map of Hollywood, there we saw a lot more of Winston and Wrecking Ball being played. So can you tell us like what is kind of the key to beating the ground-based Zarya or Orisa type comps that a team like Sakura does like to play when you are running like those dive comps?
Well, I know like for us it's like definitely like trying to force out cooldowns. Really, I remember like that's what mainly basically the whole thing for us is like when we are trying to like, we can force out cooldown, we can take our step and take the space that we do have given to us. It's a big thing of like just like playing our turn basically. Like if we can't obviously like walk onto a Zarya with 2 bubbles, like we're just gonna like get punished for that. Or like never with gold, like it's not gonna die. Like you have to force at least some type of cooldown out before you take your step.
And so in the case of like the Winston and Wrecking Ball, is it just like using your mobility, or is it more about like timing your engagements, anything like that?
I think it's kind of like both. Like you want to like time your engagements really well to follow up with everything, but like if you aren't able to like position yourself before the fight well, then you're always not going to get anywhere. Like if you're just jumping in like randomly, you're just going to get killed off cooldown. So it's like, I think for us, like to go Orisa, it's like often like let's force gold and let's take a bit of the map, and then let's look for a dive on the back line, so we're like in a bit more.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, moving on to the final map of Suravasa. This is where we saw a Zarya ban come in from you guys, and you guys ended up playing D.Va, Kiri, Lucio into Sakura's Orisa. Now, D.Va is still something that we have seen Baz, try to bring out multiple times. Would you say that like you guys are getting more comfortable on the D.Va comps as time goes on?
I think D.Va is something that like Baz just finds comfort in playing, but like I definitely think it's something that we find comfort in. It's something that we know how to play. Like I mean, no is a stretch because we don't really like practice or anything, but like something that we kind of find like comfortable to like run on.
It's familiar.
Baz finds it comfortable. Baz finds it comfortable, and therefore like if Baz is feeling good, we're all feeling good.
So with that being said, what do you think was kind of like maybe the missed step that led to the match going wrong there?
No, they're tryhards. They went Reaper. Like that hero's just too strong, and they're just tryhards, bro. Like they're just trying too hard. Like we put Juice in, he's ready for the Sojourn mirror, and they just go Reaper. Like tryhards are just like trying to do too much.
Okay. Now, speaking of Juice, we do know from a previous interview that Sakura did actually specifically target ban the Sojourn just because Juice was in there. So how did that kind of affect either him or the team overall?
I mean, it's whatever. To us, kind of like it's Sojourn and Freya was interswappable really for us. It was like Juice wanted to play the Sojourn, so we're going to put him in and like we're going to have our fun with him. But they banned it, forced him out of the Freya, then they go the Reaper character, and obviously it doesn't go as well for us, but it is what it is at the end of the day.
Right. Now, one thing I want to ask for, someone in like the supporting staff position, what's something that kind of like changes for you on match day as opposed to like just your day-to-day operations? Like, are you there like in the call with the rest of them, or do you kind of just watch from the sidelines and you're ready for like the VOD review to kind of help them out with that?
I'm in the call. I'm listed as the coach on Faceit, so I'm in the call in the server, and I'm in the lobby. When my laptop loads, at least I'm in the lobby. Sometimes I get one frame and everything goes black and it all crashes.
Yeah,
the admins get a little upset with me sometimes because I try to stream and because like every manager or coach in like the lobby is required to stream, and my streams are genuinely so horrible that they get mad at me sometimes because like it gets so pixelated or so low frames that like they can't tell if I'm cheating and like typing at people or not. Which I don't. We don't like cheating, but my laptop holds me back a bit of streaming to the admins at full capacity. But I'm there game day.
And so you said you are listed as a coach. Are you like doing any coaching? Are you giving them advice in between maps or anything like that?
No.
You leave your decisions up to them completely.
Like sometimes I'll say like, I think Torb would be good here. Like I just kind of like joke around. Yeah. I try not to like, for the most part, like I'm just gonna be honest, they all definitely know more than I do. So it's like, I'm just not gonna chime in with something when I just know that they're gonna probably say something smarter or better.
Okay, so you kind of just like you're there to give the alternate perspective if it's needed.
Yeah, I'm just there. I'm just there.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. Now, moving on to the next match of the weekend, we saw you guys play against Team Z. And here, Team Z, they played a lot more ball, especially compared to a team like Sakura, versus Dhillducks, Hazard, and D.Va comps. So how much of a difference does tank make to these compositions? Like, how do you have to play it differently compared to, like, the more ground-based comps?
Ooh, I think really different. Like, when they're on the ground tank, you kind of know that, like, where they are, like, where they can go. And when they're on, like, such a more mobile tank, you have to, like, prepare for them to be, like, able to, like, kick a lot more map really quickly. And like get anywhere a lot faster. Like if they're on a Orisa, like like where their Orisa is, like he can't move from that spot really. Like he can spin a bit, but like he's not going anywhere super fast. But they're on like the monkey or the ball, they're like moving really fast. It's different.
It adds in like unpredictability.
No, yeah, I wouldn't say exactly unpredictability, but a lot more tempo, a lot more like fast paced, and like they're going to be coming a lot faster, or you got to go a lot faster.
How would you say that Dhillducks kind of manages like that tempo? Like, are you guys a team that prefers the higher paced tempos, or do you kind of like the slower opportunities to look for the...
I definitely think that like we would do better. We do a lot better in like these high pressure, like high speed chaos kind of fights where we can kind of like make things chaotic and like a lot more fast paced. I definitely think like we can work with the slow. Like obviously, like you saw in like the promotion relegation, we can play the Ram and like play the Orisa and play really slow and let things kind of work out. But I think as a whole, we definitely love the more high-paced, kind of like chaotic kind of fights.
Yeah. Do you think that, like you mentioned, the chaotic fights, is that something that kind of plays into just the Dhillducks style that you guys have kind of become known for, with things that are like kind of hard to predict, more off the wall?
Oh, 100%. I definitely think that like chaotic fights is like almost our brand. Like in the season of Masters, we were playing Moira Kiri everywhere on Survos and other maps like that, like really feeding into like this really up tempo, oh my god, play style where nobody can match our like. That's how we play at our best. I think is when we like play this high tempo and it's upbeat kind of game where we have to play before they can make like a choice or a fight plan. We have to take things earlier.
Now, one thing that we is a recurring theme here for Dhillducks. We've heard it in the interviews with like Razor. You've mentioned it. Is that you guys are all like very close friends and stuff, right? And we hear that like that affects like your synergy and stuff in game. So do you think that is something that also kind of lends itself to these comps?
Oh, 100%. Like the fact that we can like play these comps and like you don't have to like sometimes just like not even matter thinking, like people just know that they will have help on like certain angles and like certain fights just because they know how everyone else plays. It just frees up so much more like for people like talking. Like for Razor, I know for a fact, like I know like he's talked about it a bit like with us, like he knows like that when he wants to take an off angle with Redx, he knows he'll be there. Like he knows Redx will be there to help him out. And he won't have to like perma scream for it. Like everything is just one well-oiled machine when things are going well for us. Like everyone is just in like a flow state, helping each other out, like helping everything with positioning, and just everything flows so perfectly when it all goes right.
Right. Now, I'm curious to ask, how long did it kind of take all these guys to kind of get to the point of having this mutual trust in each other? What was the process like to get to that?
I think it's a combination of like just the fact that we've been like a team now for almost 2 years, I'd say. Like stage 2, 2024 was when this team first came together, and it's like we've been such like a core for such a long time now that we've just been playing for such a long time. Like everyone just knows what everyone else's tendencies are, and then we're hanging out like outside of games. So like it's just this big group where we're always like I know it sounds stupid, but like playing games like Lethal Company Repo where you just learn to trust each other more and like just have fun with each other. It just helps everything out so much more in game too.
Okay. So Overwatch is kind of like just another Friendslop game.
Honestly, yeah, Overwatch is Friendslop for the Dhillducks. That's a great way to put it.
Hey, I mean, if it works, it works. Game is game.
Exactly. And we get paid for it, basically. Like, the paycheck hits, we show up, nothing to complain about.
For sure. Going back to the Team Z match, on Kings Row, we saw a start on Zarya against their D.Va. Then they swapped Ram, and you guys actually swapped Amaga. So what was the game plan going in to, like, was this something that you'd, like, planned to, like, try and counter-swap the tank, or is it just something that kind of happened in the moment in the match?
We started Zarya, they went D.Va, obviously. We kind of walked the Zarya into the Ram a bit, and then I think it was, like, a late fight, and Baz just said, I'm going to come back fast on Amaga. And then I think we won the fight. I don't remember. But I think Baz came back fast on Amaga, and he's like, I'm just going to stick it. We're here. Then he didn't build a single cage because that ult takes way too long.
Do you think if he had been able to get the cage? Because it was pretty close to a full cap, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. You know what? Anything could have happened in the cage. In the Baz cage, anything can happen.
Okay. Now, on the defense, they also went Ram after the first, but this time we saw you guys stick to Zarya, and you actually ended up playing a Sim Bastion again. So what was the thinking behind kind of bringing that comp back? Was it just knowing that it had worked for you guys previously in the weekend, or?
Yeah, I definitely think there was some, like, just based off familiarity and, like, knowing what we're doing on the comp more than, like, because we hadn't practiced into the Ram at all. Like, the Ram was new to us. So it was just kind of like returning to what we know a bit and seeing if we can kind of force it out. Obviously, it didn't work, but it happens.
Best laid plans, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, on Suravasa, we saw a little bit of a throwback. Baz brought out the Junker Queen again. And this is a hero that we've seen him kind of pull out here and there, not running it super consistently, but he does kind of show it every so often. Is it like a bit of like a secret weapon for you guys, or how does it kind of work when you guys decide to pull that out?
We like it on like the definitely like it on the Flashpoint maps, being able to play that Queen Moira with the Reaper. Something that we kind of like talked about heading into our first weekend against Extinction, where we did bring it out. Where it's like we know like we have the 2 flexibilities to play it, so like let's add a Queen onto it and like really just engage everything, like to be like enable them basically, like play our tempo. Obviously, like with Moira, you have to play fast. Like you can't play the long stable fights on Moira. So we kind of rolled that comp out when we want to like kind of catch teams off guard almost. Because I don't think a lot of teams are prepared for like a Queen Moira comp, obviously.
Right. Do you think that its effectiveness was kind of limited by the fact that they were running like a Ball Genji Reaper? Would it have been easier to run it into like a more static ground-based comp?
Oh, definitely would have been like easier to run like a more ground comp, but It's something that we have to change. Like I'm gonna like obviously if we scrimmed a bit more, we would probably be a lot more engaged and ready for these kind of like things to happen.
Right.
But like I definitely think that the ball was really good into it because being able to displace like their backline and Baz on Queen from each other and kind of like break up that stack that we have going when we're on that comp is just really good.
Right. So how does your win condition change from the perspective of the Junker Queen? Who are you kind of looking for when you are looking at like all those highly mobile heroes?
I think it's definitely usually the Lucio. Like Lucio is definitely the main target then because it's like if we can get Lucio like knifed, then it's definitely the easiest one to pull in. Were they on Lucio? Oh, I don't even remember.
But I think they were, yeah.
On the higher mobility comps, it's kind of like you can't play as like fast pace unless you have like a set target. So then it kind of like changes to let's force one of their cooldowns out and then we'll shout and then we'll go. Instead of just like, okay, we see them, let's shout and get in there instantly. It's let's force out a cooldown or something from them and then we'll go with our shout and follow up on that.
Right. Okay. Right. So, kind of looking at the past weekend as a whole, it was like a couple tough losses, but overall, I think you guys put in a very strong showing. So how does the team kind of reflect on the week overall? What are like the positives you can take from it?
I definitely think we're a lot happier about how things are going this stage. Like, even though we're still losing heavily, it's like we're a lot more competitive in these losses. We feel a lot better about these losses, go out, get a beer after, kind of drink it away. But like a lot of our losses season, we're feeling a lot more like competent about like being able to take a round off Nightmare on control, being able to like push teams to 99 fights or take a few like rounds here and there. I definitely think we're showing that we can compete a bit more this stage than last stage. Even though we're still getting beat down, I definitely think we're still showing that we are able to punch up.
Yeah, proving that the Dhillducks are more than just like the funny team.
We're the funny team. Like, if we tried, maybe we could take one of these rounds, like we could seal them, but it just goes against who we are.
Makes sense, yeah. Now, talking about your future matches here, your next matchup will be against Space Station, and this will be the first of like a few hard matches in a row for you guys. So what are your kind of expectations for the rest of the stage, starting with that match against Space Station?
Things are going to get really, really interesting for the Dhillducks. Definitely think that you'll be seeing a lot of things that you not usually see in OWCS.
So is that kind of the plan when you go into like a match like this where really you guys have like zero expectations, but that also means you have zero pressure. So do you kind of plan to embrace that?
It's like we know what's going to happen. So why like overly take things serious and hard scrim and hard prep for it when like we know that these guys are better than us at the game. So we're going to go out there and we're going to go have fun. We're going to do what we do best and we're going to have fun playing the game that we love.
Do you think that these teams that you're going against, is there any worry for them that maybe they're going to get like a little overconfident, maybe a little too complacent going against a team like Dhillducks, and that's where we see the first map getting taken for you guys?
They should be scared. Nobody wants to drop a map to the Dhillducks. I think just that thought alone should be leaving them shivering. The tears thought of that little number 1 shrimp to our duck. They should be scared. When Razor walks out on Junkrat, they should be scared because anything can happen to the cage.
And we can plan to see you guys kind of exploit that fear?
Oh, I don't know yet. We're going to be typing a lot. That's all I know is that there'll be a lot of typing. Okay.
Well, match chat can throw even the best of players off, so.
Exactly. It's a mental warfare, and we're winning.
Okay. And so with that being said then, here on the interview, do you have any messages you want to throw out to SSG?
Be afraid. The Ducks are coming. Be afraid.
The Ducks are going to war. All right.
It's for Hunter.
It's for Hunter?
Yeah, they released him. This is for him.
Okay. Hunter, famously a Duck supporter. All right. Well, Nogfriend, it's been great talking to you here, but before I let you go, I want to ask if you have any messages you want to give out to your fans, the viewers here, or anyone you want to shout out.
I want to thank all of our fans for like making this happen. Like the fact that this just started as a joke and is going to be where it's at today is such an amazing thing for like all of us. Like we're extremely grateful for everyone. Free Nevermind, free Evan Johnson. that will become known later. But Free Evan Johnson, those who know.
Yeah,
And
that is leaks at the time of this interview, but might be
Free Evan
by the
Johnson.
time this is uploaded. We'll see.
So I'm gonna say Free Evan Johnson. And I love my team. I love everyone involved. It's a blessing to be able to do what we do because of all of our fans and everyone who supports us.
All right. Well, yeah, that wraps up all the questions I have for you today. So, Nogfriend, thank you again so much for joining us here.
It was an honor to be here. Thank you.
All right. And with that, we come to the end of our interview for today. Make sure that you follow Nogfriend on social media, as well as the Dhillducks themselves, especially the Dhillducks themselves, I should say, as your social media is maybe the best among the OWCS teams, just worldwide. And of course, make sure you follow OWTVGG on all our platforms so that you can keep an eye out for more interviews just like this and, you know, find out what's going on behind the scenes with your favorite teams, favorite players, and maybe your favorite managers. But like I said, that is going to be a wrap for today. So thank you all so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you all next time.